something that struck me right away about the Performance Center was that everything was neat and orderly, and I think that's the only way you could do this kind of quality work. This is a really interesting display that they set up for us to look at here. It's a cross-section of the different kinds of compensators that the Performance Center has done over the years. Everything from the very basic one, like from the old K-comp, Smith & Wesson's, it's a very simple comp on the top, up to the more exotic work like you see on the 500s and the 460s. As the technology changes, the Smith & Wesson Performance Center is quick to adopt, and indeed they actually drive a lot of this technology themselves. They invent some of this stuff in-house. You know, again, this is the kind of attention to detail that we see here at the Performance Center. They get what is essentially a blank for a slide. They do this machining in-house in the Performance Center on these guns. Tony, I see something here. It's two 945 slides. It looks like you've done some machine work. What's been done here?
Yeah, actually what's happened is the slide goes into the CNC piece of a machinery like this, and we're actually doing the cosmetic slide cut here, slabbing.
Here he's doing some initial polishing work just to sort of rough out some of the flats and a couple of the dished areas. I'm amazed at how it always ends up being subjective. It's one craftsman's eye. It's his impression of how the final product should look. Once they get the slide to this point, now the magic really starts again. They cut the rails and then they match it up with a frame which they've also cut. They get the frame at I guess you'd call it a rough finish point. After cutting the rails, putting in checkering, what they do is they'll match a slide up to a particular frame. That's when the pistol smith now has to lap it so it has that 100% perfect fit. Let's take a peek and see how he does that. Now at this point, what he's done here is he's made it a slide to a frame, and he's got the lapping compound in, which is a slightly abrasive compound. And he's getting that just absolutely perfect 100% slide to rail fit. You know, again, this is one of the differences with the Performance Center gun. On a production gun at virtually any factory, basically once the slide and frame come out of the CNC machine, they're just matched up together, eventually test fired. In this situation, remember, they cut the rails in-house here at the Performance Center and then do this final fitting all by hand. That's why that old saying about you pay for what you get, well, you pay for what you get, and now you see it happening. So what we're looking at here is just to see what that final fit looks like. So at this point, your slide is fitted, right? Okay. Tony, what happens from this point?
Well, actually, once he laps the frames, they go upstairs. We actually fit the barrel to the slide, to the frame. Then it comes back downstairs, comes over to Selmo, and Selmo will polish and blend the back end.
Oh, okay. So more handwork, more final finish work.
Right. We'll take a walk over there and take a look at it.
Okay, let's go. You know, like so many things at the Performance Center, it still takes talented hands touching guns to get the final job done. You know, this is something interesting I wanted to point out. Generally, if you buy a factory gun, it doesn't matter the manufacturer, they have to worry about costs, and you know, every labor step adds more to the retail price. So you have to draw the line somewhere. They don't draw the line anywhere except when it's done. What you see here is where on a normal factory gun, for instance on a 1911 type frame, when they match a slide to a frame, if there's a little bit of overhang or something, well, that's just the way it's going to be. And what the Performance Center, once they match that frame to the slide, once the barrel's fitted and everything's the way it's going to be, then it comes back down to the Performance Center where it gets this final polish and blend at the very end. That's the kind of no limits attention to detail that you get here.